there. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Steve Gearhart, and I do a lot of different shows on this YouTube channel called Tardum Television. One of them was COVID-19 cooking, and the reason why I did that show was because we were all in lockdown, and I wanted to provide something fun and useful and tasty for when we were all stuck inside our homes for all that terrible length of time. So now that the vaccinations are starting to take hold and things seem to be like they're going around the corner a little bit, so let's keep that up. I kind of want to do a more positive spin and stop calling it COVID-19 cooking and call it something along the lines of brine. And the reason why I chose brine is because I do a lot of pickling and things like that. But of course there's other things that we do here on this show as well. We talk about the imaginary British pub that we have, the kind of beers we might want with it, the food we might want to serve with it, easy food to make. Basically the whole point of this is that if I can make it, you can make it. It's a kind of thing. So these shouldn't be too hard for you guys, and they might take time, but they're fun, and hopefully you'll find them tasty. So let's start off brine with an actual pickling recipe, and that's going to be bread and buttered hard-boiled eggs, pickled eggs. Yes, you thought I was going to say pickles, didn't you? Nope, we're going to use the eggs. So let's get into it. To make bread and butter eggs, we're going to need a few things. Now I'm going to show you what you need, and then I'm going to show you a video of me putting it all together so you'll get the measurements of all the different ingredients and how you put it all together at that point. And then we're going to do, or I'm going to do, a tasting of the eggs, and hopefully they'll come out pretty good. So anyway, so here's the list of stuff that you need. First and foremost, you're going to need one of these jars. Okay? This is 1 quart. This will be filled up with 9 to 10 eggs. Yes, 9 to 10 hard-boiled eggs will fit in here. Now the type of jar you need is obviously a pickling canning jar. You want these kinds of lids. This is the seal. And you want to make sure that they are clean. Okay? Now we're not canning, we're just pickling. So canning is a whole different process, and it has to do with vacuum seals. But you still want to make sure that these things are clean. So as soon as you get them out of the box, and they come in a box, usually 12 to a box at a grocery store, hand wash them. After you hand wash them, run them through the dishwasher, because there's usually a sanitizing function in your dishwasher that's automatic, and that's what you want. Now some people will also throw the jar into a oven at 200 to 250 degrees for about 10-15 minutes, and that will also kill any bacteria or germs as well. You don't really need to do that because we're not doing canning, just pickling. So I will take usually the faucet and let it run on hot, so it's really, really hot, and put this underneath it, let the water run into it and run out, and that usually does the trick. So you're going to need one of these, and 9 to 10 eggs, and so you're going to need, whoa, almost dropped it, 9 to 10 of these guys. However you hard boil your eggs is how you do it, as long as you get 9 to 10 of them. You get 9 to 10 hard boiled eggs, it doesn't matter how you do it as long as you get them. So you do you. Personally, I use an Instapot. It's pretty easy. Anyway, so definitely going to need the eggs. Now, one of the things is that once this is ready, you're going to set this to the side, open, of course, and you're going to set the hard-boiled eggs to the side. Now we're going to talk about the actual ingredients that we're going to put into the bottom of the jar. So we're going to start with basically an onion. So you're going to want a small onion, and you're going to cut it in half, and then you're just going to slice it. And usually you want to put a small layer down at the bottom to start off with. As you layer your eggs in here, you'll want to put more onion in there as you go along. But you really only need half of a small onion. I normally use yellow or Vidalia onions. Some people use regular white onions because they want the additional acidity. Again, it's kind of you do you. I would highly recommend not using red onions. Use a white onion or one of these guys. So, in addition to the onions at the bottom, you're going to want to get 4 garlic cloves. So as you can tell, I've already been using these. Get 4 of these guys out, medium to large size. Peel them. I usually take the flat edge of a knife and smash them so that they're crushed. And then again, put them at the bottom of the jar. Then you're going to put in your spices, okay? So we're going to put in some celery seed, right? Okay. We're going to put in a little bit of that. It creates an interesting taste. This is one of those spices that works well with other spices. On its own, it's interesting, but I would use it with other things. But this will make the whole thing taste really good. We're also going to put in, and this is important, yellow mustard seeds. Okay, so you're going to go to the store and you're going to find powdered yellow or ground yellow mustard. That's not what you want. You want the actual seeds. They kind of look like that. I don't know if you can see, but that's kind of what you're looking for. That's important because the ground yellow mustard will just dissolve. So you want something that's going to dissolve over time and releases slowly the flavor into it. And then we're going to put in the really interesting spice, which is going to be turmeric. All right, so we're going to take some ground turmeric and we're going to put that in there. This is one of those things where it's just a little dab will do you kind of stuff, and you'll see as I put it together. This is going to make everything look yellow. It's going to make your eggs look yellow. You know how, like, if you pickle in beet juice, the eggs look red and they kind of get red on the inside a little bit? Same idea. It's going to look yellow. So you're going to put all that stuff at the bottom before you put the eggs in. So then, as you put the eggs in, you put the eggs on top of all those ingredients. Do a small layer of onion, another layer of eggs, small layer of onion, until you get to the top. And like I said, this will fit all that in there. This will have it, including the brine. Now, the brine is a little bit different than a normal brine you would use for pickling. But I will talk about that kind of thing in a Pickling 101 video that I will do later. For the interest of this recipe, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that you're going to need white vinegar. It can be, I usually use distilled white vinegar unless the recipe specifically says otherwise. You can use other types of white vinegar should you choose to. Again, I'm not sponsored or anything, so whatever brand you want to use, doesn't matter. This is what I just happen to use. And to help cut the acidity of that, because it's going to be really acidic, normally you would want to have a ratio of 1 cup of water to 1 cup of whatever vinegar you're using. So to help cut that and to give the sweetness, you're going to want white granulated sugar. And again, I'll give you the measurements in the video upcoming. Just the normal stuff, no confectionery sugar. You don't need to get sugar cane or anything like that. Just the cheapo white granulated sugar will do the trick. So that's all you really need. And then last but not least, for the brine, you're going to want kosher salt. Now, if you don't have kosher salt, but you have sea salt, that is a very good substitute. That's fine. To me, I don't really notice that much of a difference. Some people do. But I'm going to tell you that's a very good substitute if you don't have kosher salt. Now, if all you have is regular table salt, go out to the store and buy kosher salt or sea salt. Do not use regular table salt. Bad things will happen and it won't taste as good, nearly as good. As a matter of fact, it'll probably taste bad. So remember, kosher salt or sea salt, and that's going to be for your brine. Now, once we put everything together and we put it all into the jar, we pour the brine into the jar. That is when we put it and we let it cool down so that we can put it into the fridge. How long does it stay in the fridge? Well, different recipes calls for different times. Some people say that it'll be good that it takes up to 3 or 4 days. Some people will say, oh, you put it in there and 8 hours later it's ready to go. Normally for pickling, I give it a week or 2 weeks, depending upon how much vinegar you're using, how much acidity you have going on here for the pickling. Because we're having so much acidity, even with the sugar in there, I'm going to call it a week for this particular recipe. Some people will say 2 weeks. Now, the thing is that the longer you let it sit, is that the more of the pickling permeates the actual egg. So if you do it a week instead of 2 weeks, it's not the end of the world. It just means that you have either less of that taste or it's where you want it to be. Or if you want it to be really concentrated taste, you let it sit there for a while before you even start eating. I'm going to wait a week for this. like I said, you can let it sit in the fridge for about a week or so. That's what I did because I feel that the vinegar, there's enough vinegar and pickling stuff in there that it will do the trick. And usually you want to take a little bit longer than that to get some of the flavors permeated in there. But I think a week will be fine with this particular bread and butter pickled egg recipe. So, like I said, the turmeric makes things look a little bit yellow, and this is what it should look like after about a week. So, yeah, what do you think? Yeah? Shall we give it a try? See that onion in there? See the mustard seeds? All that good stuff. Celery seeds. So, it's time. It's time to do the tasting. So, let's do the tasting. We're going to cut it up first, and then we're going to move the camera back up, and you can see my reaction. It looks good. I hope it tastes good. All right. Ooh. Smell that garlic. Wow. A lot of good smells here. All right. Using a fork to get this out. But do you see what I mean? It's kind of got that yellow little bit of yellow color to it. I can already tell it's got a firmer texture or on the outside of it. That happens after pickling. So let's cut it open and see what it looks like inside real quick. Nice and yellow. So good. All right, we're gonna eat it. Bread and butter pickled eggs. Cheers. Oh wow. Wow. Okay. So, this is a lot different than I'm used to when coming to pickled eggs, because when they pickle eggs, they use dill, garlic, things like that. I've never really done a more sweeter pickling brine, and it is perfect. Wow. Like, the texture is what you would imagine a pickled egg would be. It's got that, toughness around the outside of it that you want. And on the inside, of course, you can taste the egg. But you have this wonderful, you can taste the vinegar in a good way. That tartness, that little bit of acidity. But you get that turmeric and that sweetness that comes in. Oh my God, this is really good. So I'm going to say this recipe is a success. Give it a try. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and make a batch for yourself, and again, have fun with it. And wow, okay, great first episode for brine. Again, cheers.